Hey everyone, welcome to the Brand Sisters. I'm Claire.
I'm Alexis.
And we are from Animal Agency, where we take brands from unseen to unforgettable.
Yes.
So today I thought it would be interesting to talk and dive a little bit more into logos, and a topic that I feel like comes up quite a bit out in the world, which is why pay any more than $20 for a logo?
People are only paying $20 for a logo?
Oh yeah.
Like where?
Etsy, Fiverr.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's really becoming a lot more common these days, I think, especially for, as you're starting out a business. You don't necessarily want to be paying thousands of dollars, to get off the ground. And I think that there's also the concern of like, what's different, right? Like if I can get a really cool looking logo for $20, why should I be paying more than that, right?
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. So I wanted to, and obviously, like I said, there's a lot of different ways, or a lot of different places you can get them now. On Etsy, for example, they have like really beautiful logos, and they have kind of like pre-made templates sort of, so they like input your name or, whatever, but they look really, really good. So I think that it is nice to like take a second and figure out, is that your route right now, or is your route to invest in branding? And I do think that they both have their place. I'm not like, this episode is not about like dogging Fiverr or 99 Designs or, Etsy. I think that a lot of designers do feel strongly about those outlets not being super positive, but I do think they have their place. So I want to share a story to start off. And this is what prompted this. So as you know, Nick and I, my husband Nick, we started his alternative healthcare practice several years ago. And this was before I got into design. And he needed a website, he needed a logo, he needed all these things. And so we're like, okay, we got to, figure this out, right? And so we were very much so of the mindset of like, we're going to DIY everything, right? And be as frugal as we possibly can, because we want to make sure that we're saving money for the really important stuff. So we went through Fiverr, we went through 99 Designs, we got, a variation of logos. And Fiverr was how do I put it? Difficult, because it's difficult. A lot of the people that you're, potentially talking with, you may not speak the same language. And, so there's a lot of maybe disconnects. So we went to Fiverr first, we got what we got, and we were not happy with it. And so then
hold on, you actually purchased one,
yes,
right? Okay.
Yes. Okay. So, and then we went to 99 Designs, which is like, should be a step up, right? And we paid at least a couple $100, right? So you're thinking you're going to get something more valuable. So we did end up going with that logo that we got from 99 Designs. But funny story. So like a month ago, and obviously the story evolves in that I went into design and then I rebranded him a while ago, so we moved on from that a long time ago. But I've had personal experience with all these, other outlets. And so about a month ago, I was going on Pinterest and I found our logo that this designer had put together for us, but like slightly tweaked, and she was selling it. So like I go to the website and she had like made the slightest little difference to the logo that she had made for us, and she was selling it.
Okay, wait, I'm sorry, because you need to explain this to me. When you got the logo from her, is there like part of the contract that like that's yours, like it's not allowed to be like, I didn't know if that worked the same way for 99 Designs. Like, I can understand from like a graphic designer where that would be, but from someone like 99, no, they're not supposed to.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean the design that you have, like that should be unique. Well, I mean that's a whole nother story, but you should be able to use it for your business purposes, and you should have no issue of like copyright or anything like that. So that kind of experience, I saw that, and of course, like we don't use that logo anymore. So I thought it was kind of funny, and I showed Nick, and he thought it was funny too. But then I was like, whoa, like this is kind of serious, the fact that like with those kinds of companies, you're not really necessarily working with a team that right, and is getting to know you and your brand, and so it's a little bit of a crapshoot, like first of all, and then second of all, you don't know. There's not that same rapport necessarily. I'm not saying that I'm sure there are amazing designers on there. I know there are amazing designers on there, but you're not developing the same level of connection to where that stuff obviously must happen. We must not be the only people, you know, who for these designers are trying to make a living, you know, that makes sense. But if we had kept use of that logo and we're incorporating it a lot, you know, then how unfair and frustrating would it be if, you know, the person who designed it was just, you know, making slight little changes and selling it for, you know, whatever. So I wanted to kind of dive into what's the difference. You know, what are you getting when you purchase a $20 logo or even a $200 logo like we did, which, you know, that one was, versus, you know, paying a designer, an agency like us to put that stuff together. And I think that the major difference, and I'll go into a little bit of detail, but the major difference is when you're purchasing a logo from Etsy or Fiverr or 99 Designs or, you know, the million other companies that, you know, offer that kind of service, you're buying usually a trendy looking logo. You're buying an attractive design. But when you go to an agency, you're getting a brand, right? And that is just a totally different beast.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to understand the difference. Now, if you are just starting out, you know, then that might be your best route, to just pay the $20, $50, whatever, and just get an image and just get yourself started and keep going. But if you have a business and you're feeling kind of confident with it and you're, you know, taking the next steps with it and you're making, you know, good connections and all that, you need a brand, right? That's not something that you can sacrifice on at that point. So I wanted to kind of dive into a little bit of the more nitty-gritty as to what you're getting, you know, in one versus the other. So with a brand and with an agency, you're getting a team of professionals that know what they're doing, right? And you're getting to make a connection with these people. So when we work with people, you know, our clients, we spend so much time with them, right? Like, we are, you know, on Google Docs, we're sending videos, we're on FaceTime, you know, there's so much communication and connection that goes on that we really, really, really get to know the brand inside and out. And I think it's important to have that outsider's perspective of your brand, because you get very narrow focused on what you think your brand is. But having someone, not just somebody, but a professional, you know, and a team of professionals to be able to look in and see what the brand is and how do we work this, you know, how do we communicate this, how do we represent this visually, having that team is invaluable, right?
That's so true. And I think that no matter the clients that we work with, whether they're high level, $1 million, multi-million-dollar company to like somebody that's starting out, on every level, when we work on that part, we've brought up things that they have not considered, right? It doesn't matter how established or not established they are. We pose like questions or like ask for clarification that causes them to think about what they're doing or a component in a different way. And there's two eyes on their brand too, which is like, it's not just one person. There's like both of us, and we're so different that we pose different things that help like not just establish what you do with them, but also help establish like their brand foundation as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to be able to have that, and then versus the other route, you know, when you're going Etsy Fiverr route, you don't have that, right? You don't have that team. And a lot of times, like when we communicated with Fiverr and 99 Designs, it was like, we're looking for this, and then we just got the designs. Like there was literally no communication at all. And often there is like a language barrier, you know, and so it's difficult to really have them understand your brand as a whole. And then oftentimes, what you get is basically just a cool looking design that you like, right? But what does that get you? You know, that's not actually, and I think that was a pivotal thing for I think for every client, right? To see that like your logo and your visual suite is not about just having something that looks good, because that really doesn't get you anywhere, right?
That's so true. And I think oftentimes people just, like what you're saying, they want something that they think is attractive and like presentable, but it doesn't have anything to do with like their brand foundation.
Right. And there's so much more that can be, it's like just scratching the surface if you have something that looks good. Right. Another, you know, kind of difference between the two is that when you're working with an agency, we research your ideal client. We research what they want, you know, what they're interested in. We research the competitors, direct competitors, next level competitors. So we're diving in so much of, I feel like we like, I don't know, I'm seeing this visually right now, but we, you know, we stretch out, right, our reach. And we're not just looking at the brand itself, we're actually looking at the whole network and community that happens, because no business is an island, right? We're all interconnected. And each business, especially in its industry, needs to be seen as its own thing. And we need to see what is unique about that to set it apart, right? And understanding its unique value proposition and seeing how we can differentiate it, right? So having all of that research is, again, very invaluable if you are wanting to stand out. And I think most businesses today, in particular, because there's hundreds of businesses in one industry, you know, it's very difficult to stand out. And that is what we obviously focus on, is really trying to figure out pinpoint all of those aspects that make a business unique, that and target that to their ideal client, right? So doing all this kind of research versus, again, getting like an image or a design that you like, but how do you know that will resonate with your ideal client, right?
And I think what you're talking about, standing out and unique value and brand positioning, all of the components in that are so important to help you gain the best like traction and to market yourself in the best way, right? So like obviously you need a solid brand foundation. You need services that appeal to your client. You need like your brand values, like how they're well represented to your clients. But like the kind of the culmination of that is your visual identity. Like your visual identity should represent all of those things. So if you have like something solid and is great and is of great value, if your visuals don't match that, it's like oftentimes it is the first visual appeal, right? And if you're not attracting them in that way, it's hard for then people to get to like even understand the things below the surface because they're not interested or you're not standing out in that way.
Right. I even think about it, I don't know, this is just the phase of life I'm in, but like with pregnancy and birth, you know, it's like through pregnancy, that I feel like is all like the brand strategy stuff, you know, it's like all the preparation part that is necessary for the birth, you know, like as you give birth to like the new life, that's like the visual identity, and that visual identity can't happen, you know, without like all of that prep work and all that preparation work. But it really is like such a natural, like the more I can speak from experience on this part, like the more that is done between you and the client with the brand strategy, the easier, more fluid and smooth it gets with the visual branding. Because if they come to visual branding, they're still unsure, it's so hard. And obviously that doesn't happen with our clients, but it is something to, you know, that's important. It makes a difference. And then another thing that we talk about a lot is copy, you know, making sure that, and I think that that's something people don't realize that we work so much on with clients is copy. And even if we're not doing web services for a client, even with branding, we still have like pages of copy, you know, that like we're going through of like what's their tagline, what's their, you know, problem and solution and result for their clients, and what's their one-liner, you know, all that kind of stuff. So going through all of that with the client equips them so that when they are out on the other side, they have like a whole arsenal, you know, they have like a whole toolkit of all these ways to understand and explain and communicate their brand. They can
actually market their brand.
Yes.
Like that's, and I don't think that all graphic designers do that. And obviously that's a part of like our agency services, because we have like, you know, our service suite is more broad than that. But like when we work on those things with a client, it's not just like, here's all of your beautiful things that represent it, no matter how well that may be done. Like when you do that, it makes it so it's ready to market. Like working through that copy and just like noting the copy is like the verbiage, and whether, depending on what we're doing, it depends on how much copy we're obviously providing. But especially even if it's just branding, like when we're going through all of those marketable, identifiable language and lines that pair with the visuals, it's like ready to go. Like you're actually ready to use and market your brand. Right.
And especially with, you know, channels like social media and blog posts, which I think a lot of businesses, you know, are including, then you're not feeling that you have to reinvent the wheel every time you go to sit down and put together some content. I think that's been probably the maybe one of the most surprising things that we provide for client is that they feel like it's fluid. You know, like when they have all this done and they actually understand. And I think they say that like what's that quote, that you know something the best when you can teach it, right? And that's essentially what it is for your brand. Like if someone wants like a 10-second summary of your brand and you can't do it, there's a problem. If somebody wants a 30-second, there's a problem. If you can't explain your, brand in like 1 minute, like all those kinds of different ways essentially to explain and communicate your brand, like you should feel fairly equipped to do that, and if you don't, then obviously that makes it difficult for you to be successful. So having that ability to be able to cycle through content and cycle through copy seamlessly and fluidly, it reduces burnout. It allows you to just kind of keep going. And then the last thing is that when you're purchasing a logo from one of those other companies, then usually you're getting one design, maybe two, right? And if that's the case, then your branding is going to be very one-dimensional. And so with an agency, we're providing a whole visual suite, right? They're like, just for the logo alone, they're getting 5 variations, right? And then beyond that, they're getting all different kinds of things that could, bolster their identity, whether that's like a brand pattern or just elements that we can incorporate onto a website, or, all that kind of stuff really helps to make the brand show all of the multi-levels, right? Show how deep it is and how varied it can be versus just that one-dimensional thing, right? And if you have one design that you're just showing over and over and over again, it first of all gets boring, right? For you and for your ideal clients. And it's a little bit, it's kind of a reflection, right? It's a reflection of perhaps maybe what's going on underneath and with the business. And I think that it's important to make sure that you're showing that you can show up in all different kinds of ways, right? And one logo is not good enough for every aspect, every channel, that you're showing up on. You just need variation anyway. But on top of that need, it is good just to show that you are versatile, right? Or that your business is versatile. So I think that, just to kind of sum it up, it's important to choose your timing well. Yeah. Right? That it is not, it's not time for every business to invest in an agency, to develop their brand. I think that it's important to understand and to be able to discern when that is the moment, for you and your business. And I think there is a time and place, just like for me. I mean, I can talk obviously from experience that at that time it was good for us just to do those, more simple ways of getting a visual branding done. But eventually, we did invest in better branding, and it did make a gigantic difference. So I think it is important just to know where you are in your business and make sure that you can make those wise decisions for the health of your business in the present and the future. Yeah. So if you want to hear more about that and dive into a little bit more detail, we have our blog post on animela.com. And come and hang out with us. We'd love to spend more time with you. We are on Instagram. We have our podcast. We have our our what else do we have? I feel like we're on TikTok. We're on
Pinterest. Do we say
Pinterest. That? Yeah, we're everywhere. So just come and hang out. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.